everybody, this is Chris Marks here, and this is my new show, Useless Threats. This is episode 1. Episode 1! Yeah, man! Okay, today in the studio, we got Jason Jones. He's going to talk a little bit about making beer, the craft beer industry. We're going to do some drinking of some really good beer. He brings in this 2-year-old aged Bourbon County Stout, and it's just phenomenal. We'll do a little bit more drinking of beer. We're going to go on a few rants. We're just going to have some fun. We're going to have fun with it. Thank you for listening. Hope to talk to you again soon. Enjoy the show! Cool. So this is the first show going on here. I got my guest. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Jason Jones.
Jason Jones over here. Cool. Yeah. So we had a kind of relaxing day now. So this is pretty cool. He showed up here. He's got this awesome beer. You want to tell us about this beer that we're drinking?
Yeah. So I brought the 2013 Bourbon County Backyard Rye. Bought it the day it came out. Been selling it for 2 years, and now we're cracking it open, seeing what it's all about.
2-year-old beer. It's so good. Oh God, it's so good. You know, I don't know, man. The berries are really present. You got that nice oaky finish, man. It is just. This is good.
Yeah,
I'm digging it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, they did a solid job with this. Once it warms up, we'll probably even get more berries. So we'll see what happens when it gets a little warmer.
What kind are you getting right now? I'm getting a lot of raspberry to me.
A lot of raspberry. On the bottle, it says they made it with mulberries, boysenberries, marionberries, aged in rye whiskey. So I'm assuming the mulberries are probably the raspberry taste we're getting. Could be marionberries. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't either. I remember it from like Child's Tales. You remember there's like stuff like people saying mulberries, in there, but I have no idea what kind of berry that is.
I don't think it's a Texas staple.
Yeah, I don't know what watch it is, and we have no fucking idea, going through it. Yeah. So this is kind of our first show going on. The show is called Useless Threats, so obviously it's a more apathetic attitude show. It's mostly going to be just me bitching about things, to be honest. I mean, it really is. I'm just going to have people that I talk to, people that can listen to me bitch, and we'll drink beer and whiskey and everything, and we'll have some funny conversations. Hopefully it turns out, real nice, and if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. That would be cool. If not, then fuck off. I don't care.
Yep.
Anyway, so I met this guy, only a few months, what is it, like 2 months ago, something like that. It's been fun. We're gonna go do some fun concert activities together. That'll be cool. Yeah, we were just volunteering at the same place. So that's been fun. Shit got real fucked up today, and so we have a relaxing day. We got a relaxing day where we can drink some beer. We're gonna meet up with some people later. It's fun. So yeah, I don't know. Why don't we start out, Jason? Why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself? Anything to say? What do you like to do?
I like to make beer.
Yeah.
I like to drink beer and scotch. That's my wheelhouse right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I pretty much wake up in the morning, piss excellence, and just roll from there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. I need to learn how to make some more beer because I told you I think before I did two little batches in college, and they were just horrible. I mean, absolutely horrible. The roommates drink them. I mean, you give alcohol to people and they're gonna drink it. That's just it. They're like, oh yeah, it's great, man. Can I have a few more cases? It looks like there's like fucking mold growing on it and shit. Just sitting in the basement where it's flooded, 3 freaking times already this year. And you're not okay. One thing about this house that I'm living in, man. This house that I'm living in, it has almost no insulation. Built back in the 40s. And the town I'm living in has, no way of dealing with floods. Actually, that's a lie. They do, but they don't ever do it because it wastes too much money. There's this quarry that they could open up and take it out. But no. So every year, these people are paying, multiple millions of dollars to live in a shit Cape Cod house. Yeah. And then they have all these finished basements. They have all this, they're all these, rich rich upper middle class to high class people. And every year they have to redo their basement. So I'm kind of like, why the fuck are you doing your basements in the first place? There's like 2 feet of water.
Yeah.
That happens every year. And every year it happens. And they refuse to open the quarry. Dude, I would have fucking moved out after the first year if I wasn't in college. Dude.
Yeah.
It was just bullshit.
Work smarter, not harder.
Dude, yeah, exactly, man. It was just ridiculous. Now, and the worst part about this flooding is it's not water coming in your front door, right? It's coming out up through the basement. And it ain't water. It's shit.
Oh, no.
It's literal shit. So the first time it happens, right? So we asked the previous tenants who were there, who was a few guys that were just like there's like 3 guys, and they're like 2 years older than all of us that were in there, and it was how many we got? 1, 2, 3. We have 5 people living there. One was now my fiance who was living with me in one room, and it was 4 bedrooms. Basically, there's this Cape Cod that had this extension on the back that they just did the cheapest way possible. From the outside, it looked really good. And honestly, from the inside, if you're there for a minute, it looked good. But there's no insulation. And I'm up in an area that's really freaking cold, right? I mean, really goddamn cold. And so not only am I asking the earlier term, like, do you have any problem with flooding? They're like, no, we didn't have anything. Nothing at all. It should have been a clue when we first went down there. This isn't a finished basement. It was just an unfinished one. That there's a little bit of puddles of water down there. And I thought maybe it's just a landlord, cleaning up or anything with them. Just like, okay. Within, I think, the first 2 weeks, there was 2.5 feet of water down there.
Shit water.
We were shit water. And we were rehearsing in a band at the time. So all of our fucking equipment was down there.
Oh, fuck.
So actually, what saved it, we put it anyway just in case on cinder blocks. There was cinder blocks in the backyard, and we were just like, you know what, just in case, let's put it on cinder blocks. What saved it was actually my cat, because I didn't have Lacey at the time. I had my cat, and he's down there with it. He's a little weirded out, but he's just chilling, and I'm sitting there there was a desk that we had down there for like the mixing equipment so we could record the sessions, and all of a sudden I hear him meowing. I noticed that he's under the desk and there's water coming up. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And so we're grabbing all this shit. I mean, we're grabbing, it was like an 8-piece drum set going through. This dude was mad on drums, had all these things. He's not there. So we're carrying an 8-piece drum set. We're carrying 2 half cabs, half stacks going through there, going up the stairs and shit. And it's just fucking shit water coming up. Now, on top of this, there are, on the post holding up the floor, there are outlets that are only about a foot off the ground.
Are they wooden posts?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And so I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, so we got to get this shit out, not only to save our equipment, but if we go in there any later, we're going to electrocute the shit out of ourselves, and that's just done.
And the wood's rotting away.
Everything else, with it. So, so we're dealing with this. So luckily, this is before the winter even hits, right? So we move in there. I think September. I want to say no, maybe late August. Anyway, we move in there, and so we're dealing with the flood, and we're just like, fuck. Okay, well at least we got down with that. Our landlord was actually a really good guy. He was a band teacher at the high school.
Oh, nice.
Very awesome dude. And he was like, oh my god, I'm sorry. I'll get in there, and he cleaned up. And he did. He got it all done, and he did all the work. And it was so nice of him for it. I mean, landlord is supposed to do shit, but you know what I mean. But then comes winter. And so my fiance and I, girlfriend at the time, are over in the back room, and it's the extension. And we don't know about this problem, right? I mean, where I'm living, we got, it's just the summers are nice. It's beautiful.
Everything's happy.
Everything's happy. You got your windows open, no AC on or anything. It's beautiful. Yeah, man, as soon as that winter comes. So, fucking A. So we find out that the only room in the house that actually retains heat is our fucking asshole of a roommate's room. And it's just like, of course it is, right? He's got the nicest room over here. We're even paying equal, right?
Oh shit.
And so he's like the only room with heat over here, and he's like, I don't know what you guys are complaining about. I'm like, no fucking shit, you don't know what I'm complaining about. It's fucking cold, man. And so
it's like Dumb and Dumber. You're like, hey, here's my extra pair of gloves.
Right. So we end up buying this industrial heater, man. It's like stainless steel freaking heater.
Oh yeah.
Go on there and putting in there, and it's the only way to survive this damn shit.
Oh,
Because
man.
our room is like all windowed too. So take away the insulation. We also got fucking windows as like most of the room. And so, man, between it being college and people being broke and stealing each other's freaking food and all sorts of crap, we end up living out of our room essentially with this cat. And not to mention that this cat, the one out there, he's a good guy now. But for about 2 years there, he shit on our bed every day.
Oh, he's a dick, huh?
Oh man, you know, and I guess. It's not. I guess I don't know if I consider myself to be a good person. My fiance is a good person, and she was like, "Well, you picked him. We gotta keep him." I was like, "I'm about ready to kick this cat out the window. I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna lie over here. I'm about ready to do it." And okay, to give him some credit, he's the most loving cat I've ever found, other than this problem. Because I mean, I've never seen a cat. I mean, I will sit on the couch and all of a sudden he's like, "No, it's my time. It's my time right here, bitch." And he'll come up to me and he will literally jump on my chest and purr as loud as he can and butt his head into me. He's like, "You ain't going anywhere. It is time for me to love you." And I'm just like, all right, man. I mean, I'm just like, holy crap. I mean, this is a really loving cat. He's really passionate about this stuff. But he crapped on our bed every day. And so we're living in this room with no damn, control of temperature.
Oh shit.
Our food is all in a pantry on a goddamn bookshelf that we have over here from IKEA, right? So we have no room for the rest of our shit. So we got piles of crap everywhere, Luckily, we're mostly clean outside of that. So it's just claustrophobic. And then you walk in. And you had a hard day, and you come out, and the cat shit on the bed. And you gotta clean up the goddamn bed. And so we're living with these freaking, potty training mats on here. Eventually, our cat's on Prozac. Not many people can say that. My cat is on Prozac, and he is a success story.
Oh.
He is a great guy now. He is so happy.
He's reformed, would you say?
It's amazing.
He's
yes,
a reformed
I would
shitter.
say reformed shitter. And he has a nice litter box out here that he likes to shit in, and he pisses in the other one. And it's good. And he's dominant over the dog, which is really fucking funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, dude, it's really funny. The dog won't enter a room if the cat is in the hallway. Sure,
Top you off?
Thank you so much. It's really funny. Anyway, I go on this giant rant. I don't even remember how that started. I've been talking my head off. I don't know. Let's talk to you about more stuff. More stuff about Jason Jones over here.
Woo!
So
Championship. Yeah, so I came from a swamp.
From a swamp.
Yep, moved from a swamp. I mean,
Okay.
it's very similar to today where we're at every single day.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Except it's about 30 degrees warmer and still feels the exact same humidity. So it's a good time.
I kind of feel you from Houston, but I'm sure that yours is worse, man. I mean, growing up in Houston, Texas was crazy. So yeah.
Yeah, good times in Tampa, Florida. That was a great point in my life.
So you grew up there?
I grew up in Panama City, Florida. So North Florida. Moved down to Tampa to go to college. Stayed there for about 10 years and fell in love with beer there.
Cool. If you don't mind me asking, what was the reason for living in Panama City? Did your parents had something that brought them there, or was your family originally from Florida, or
My mom's originally from Florida. My father's side is all from Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
So they met. They actually went on 2 dates. They dated for 3 days, then got married. They've been married almost 50 years now. I know, real crazy, man.
That is awesome.
Yeah, real crazy. Doesn't happen like that anymore.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. That is awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty
3
funny.
days, and they just knew.
They just knew. Well, they actually the first date they went on dates with. They were together, but with different people. And after the first date, they were like, "Yeah, we don't really like these people. We like each other." They went out the next day, and they got married a week later.
So I'm guessing it was one of those dinner dates that you see like on friggin' sitcoms, right? Of where they're sitting there and the two people are talking to each other, but the 2 dates are kind of like, yeah, dude, that's cool.
That's real crazy,
that's
man.
awesome. Yeah. So okay, so you end up going to Tampa.
Yep, go to Tampa, go to college.
Cool.
Get my first taste of craft beer. The very first one I had was a Skull Splitter.
Skull Splitter. Who's that by?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
They still make it, but it's a Viking style, is what they call it.
Viking style. What does that mean?
Hell if I know.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I would think it'd be like made with yarrow and different things like that for bittering instead of hops, but I don't think that's what they did. Had a buddy come in town from Miami, and he was big into the craft beer scene, so we went to the only craft beer store in Tampa at the time, bought $200 worth of beer, which sounds like a lot, but at the time it really, really wasn't. So maybe like small cases of beer, just different styles. Drank all that over a weekend and said, man, craft beer is where it's at.
Yeah, man, that's pretty sweet. It's funny, and I'm gonna have to watch myself here. Because you know way more about brewing than I do. So I'm trying to say stuff that like sounds a little bit intelligent, but is on the level.
Hey, we can fix it in post.
No, but it's funny because there's so many styles that are in craft beer that you ask someone, you're like, what the hell does that mean? And they're just like, you know, it's like there's so many styles that don't have a definition,
right?
Going on there, and so like it's just generally known that this is this.
Yep.
I mean, it's just generally known that this color means this malt profile means this. With hops, I mean, it gets anywhere.
Well, that's like with your pumpkin beers, which are obviously wildly popular now. They fall into a BJCP category of veg. That's the judging system of where beers are rated based on SRMs, based on hoppiness, alcohol content. So like pumpkin beers are all fall under fruit, vegetal, or spiced beers.
Okay.
So any type of beer with any type of fruit falls under that. So this delicious Bourbon County falls under that category, which is not anywhere close to a pumpkin beer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So just based on these guidelines, they have 50 or 60 subcategories of each one.
So I'm guessing that it's almost like a tag online where things overlap. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, things overlap all over the place, which is probably the best way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, if not, I mean, it'll just be freaking chaos. I mean, that's just if you're only sticking to one category. I mean, there's just so much room for interpretation and creativity in the craft beer scene that it's just like. You're just gonna get.
Oh yeah, and I think at the time they came out with the style guidelines, like a lot of people weren't obviously doing pumpkin beers. I mean, maybe there were a couple doing harvest ales or something like that,
Sure.
but I mean, just in stouts, there's Russian Imperial Stout, there's sweet stouts, there's the list just goes on and on and on, and it's like, oh, all right.
Do you know when they came out with the guidelines? I have no idea.
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay. I had no idea if you know. I don't know.
No, just from homebrewing and competitions and stuff like that, they have different styles. So you could, I could take my readings and say, okay, well, this came out to be 6.5 ABV with this many IBUs in it, and it has this kind of SRM, so it's in this range of color. Or I'll say, yeah, this is going to be, a robust porter. Or I'll turn it into a competition. They say, no, that's not a robust porter. It's actually, 2 ticks lower than this, so it actually has to be this. And it's like, oh. They're like, it's an American porter instead of a robust porter. And I was like, oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And it, actually 2 things on this, but it's really interesting that you say that it's like, oh, it's actually rated as this, because I feel like there are so many beers there that you sit there and you drink and you're like, there's no freaking way that this is in this.
Yeah.
I mean, one I had with a buddy of mine who lives over the next apartment complex over there. I had one that was from Spain.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beer from Spain, and it was an amber. And there's no freaking way it was an amber. I mean, there's just no way. I mean, I'm sitting here and you're listening. I mean, you're listening to the description, of course, right? And this is from Rare Beer Club.
Yeah.
This is from Rare Beer Club. And you know about
I've
Rare
heard about
Beer
it, yeah.
Club? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Have you ever read their descriptions for this?
No.
Okay. So I don't know who's writing it. I don't know if there's like multiple people writing it. And this isn't to call anyone out or anything, but it's funny because it's like by the time you get done through the reading, it feels like so many different people have read through this. It's like, well, I feel like you just described beer, like literally beer, because there's just so many things that go into it. And that's the funny thing about it is you're reading this about an amber, right?
Oh yeah.
And you're like, how the hell is there this much complexity going through an amber? And I mean, not to say that there can't be, but it's just funny because I drink the beer and I'm like, this is not an amber. Like, I mean, you generally, and that's to go off of what I was saying earlier of, what makes a style of where it's just like you drink this and you're just like, comparatively to every other amber I've had, this is not an amber.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that it's not. And it was a damn good beer, but holy shit! I mean, I think the amount of hops in the first place was just like, okay, this is real bitter, bite off the tongue. Like, why the hell would this already be considered an amber? And I don't know enough about beer yet to go ahead and say like, oh, this is not an amber. But to me, drinking it just wasn't. I mean, I'm used to like all sorts of ones that I've drank over here that I grew up with that, were very easy going
right.
as far as an amber go, as far as what an amber is considered. And I was just like, it's just like so complex. Anybody who would be ordering an amber at a bar would be like, this is not what I ordered. This right here. But to give them props, I mean, it was a damn good beer. And it was really funny because if you read the side, right, where they like normally put a description, I don't know if there's a translation error or if they just meant to do this. I don't know. But it says nothing about the beer. It sounds like the rantings of what I'm doing right now, of where someone was, well, not what I'm doing right now. It sounded like someone was on some drugs over there, and they're describing what their high was going down there, because I'm just like reading this, and it's just like, huh? When you got to the bottom of it. But at the same time, you're kind of like, well, that was kind of badass. I don't know what that was, but that was pretty sweet. He just described what he was feeling like on his day, and he might have been on some acid. I don't know, man. I don't know. But back to my 2-part thing that I was going to ask you is, have you entered some competitions? Have you done?
I've done a couple of homebrew competitions.
Cool.
When I lived in Florida.
How'd you fare?
Well, I mean, there were 500, 600 people, depending on the category and what you do. I mean,
you got number one. I mean, you did.
Oh no, I'd be a brewer right now if I was getting number ones. I finished in the top 10 a couple of times.
That's amazing.
Just a couple of different styles, but it's like I said, it's all dependent upon the judges' taste. So they do a lot of blind taste tests. We had a place in Tampa they do a thing called the Best Florida Beer Championships. So it's all the home brewers do a thing, and then whatever's left over, they have a leftover party at a place called Southern Brewing. So everybody, you pay like $10 and you can come and you drink as much as you want. Now it's all the home brewers leftover bottles. So there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of bottles. But then on the little label, all they say is the style. So it could be like 603.1. So you have to know, you have a little list and it's like, okay, well 603.1 is this style. And so you say, okay, and then the next tub will be the next style. And you say, okay, well, this is pretty good. And then it'll say like Best in Show, BOS. So then that's the one that's going to be the bell cow. So you're like, all right, well, this is what the winner tasted like. And then you take some, second or third place. And you're like, oh, I can see the difference in why they won versus the other people.
Cool. That's really cool, man.
Yeah, that's a cool thing.
Yeah, dude, that's really badass.
But you never know who the home brewer is, so you're not like you have to go and wait till the awards come out to find out.
Right, to find out that and that's kind of cool that they do that to where it's just like you're not. I mean, so I guess this is another 2-pointer here. But first off, is that if you don't know who the home brewer is, there's no bias. If you actually knew the person,
correct,
right? It's just straight on judging of, oh wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's really cool, especially when you're comparing him. Now. Okay, I'm gonna get to that in a second. I'm so ADD, man. I got several thoughts going through my head. The first thought is that it's really and this is gonna end up being a long thought. I already know, but the first thought is that it's really funny that you bring up the amount of bias and it being in the top 10 out of 500 and the judges' opinions, because I feel like so many things in our world today go that way of where it's just like you feel like for example, like let's just say the Grammys, because that happened that happened recently.
Oh, absolutely.
And I actually didn't even watch it. I don't got cable.
Yeah.
So
I don't either, but I watched the Grammys.
Oh, did you?
I watched the replay on Hulu.
Oh man, I haven't even checked that out.
You're
I gotta
welcome.
check that out. I gotta check. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I heard about the whole Beck thing with Kanye and everything with that, and mad respect to Beck. That was awesome that he got that, and mad respect to him for being a big person for that. I mean, he was just going with it. We talked about that the other week. But anyway. It's just really funny because you're going off of judges, right? And there's no way as a person to be completely unbiased. There's no such thing.
Oh no, definitely not.
There's just not. And because of that, whether the competition be about food, I just said food before I even said the competition. I'm ahead of myself. Whether the competition be about food, about beer, about mixology, about any of the arts, about anything. Really, you're just going to always have amount of bias. I mean, this goes the same with our judicial system. I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, it's all subjective.
But it's all subjective. It's just the human persona is subjective. That's just it.
Based on your upbringing, your tastes, and what you like.
Right. So it's really interesting when you're getting into any of these fields, that to know that, I mean, I said earlier, your friends are going to drink whatever you want, right? I mean, you give people alcohol and they want, they're going to drink it. And you could have the best beer in the world, over here, but say it's a really interesting style, and I don't know what the hell one would be off the top of my head that would be a really crazy interesting style. Because
Sours. I mean, sours are huge now.
I guess we could say sours,
Yeah.
but they're so huge now. That's the
Yeah,
reason.
I
You
know,
know,
it's hard.
is that I almost didn't do that. Is I don't even know. I don't even know what it would be. But basically, what I'm saying, you can have the most crazy rare style out there. But guess what? You know, if the person over here is a big fan of you know, more Belgian styles
Yeah.
or sours, we can use sours again. And you throw out a double IPA that's, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe for the style, maybe it's almost not malty, right? It's almost not malty enough, which you see a lot of double IPAs because of them being that alcohol condensate, and because of the boil time
Right.
being malty. And you say, you're like, yeah, I don't want that malty. And so people are not expecting that, and they're just like, I don't like this. It's not what I expected. I'm not used to this. I don't like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not my
and
wheelhouse.
you expect the judges to be of a certain level to where that wouldn't be a
Oh,
problem.
absolutely.
Right? But it's really interesting that the margin of error, right, that you could see maybe the person that would have gotten last place would have come in first place in our one. And that's
And they don't get to explain it or anything. So they could have done it on purpose, saying, hey, I want to try and tweak the style a little
Right.
bit because I like this and everyone else I know likes it. And the judges are like,
and that's a big risk to take.
It
You know,
is.
you could watch any of these. I mean, and we're going to set aside the fact of any kind of reality shows being rigged or whatever. We're just purely discussing this. You watch any reality show that's like MasterChef or anything like that, right? Of where they do stuff like that. And this is just an example because it's very easy to reference for,
Of course.
for a lot of people. But you watch a show like that, and you would expect, you know, whoever is going to be. I'm not talking specifically about MasterChef, just chef, you know, shows in general. You would expect that those people to be open-minded to different trials, but a lot of times what will end up happening is they'll go and they'll do a style, and it will be a variant.
Yep.
You know,
absolutely.
and it will either make it or break it, man. And it literally, you're talking about like 3 judges there. 2 of them might say make it, and the last one says break it,
Yep.
right? And then your average score comes out, you screwed yourself.
And it's just everybody trying to get outside the box as far
Right.
as possible while still staying in the guidelines.
And it's funny that we're talking about craft beer with this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because craft beer is just going as hard as they can on that motto, right?
Oh, yeah.
Of let's just break those boundaries, man. Let's just keep going. And it's funny because you got that side that's just like, oh, it's so craft, you know. We're going to keep breaking these boundaries. We're going to keep inventing stuff that is outside the box, that's unique. And it's a struggle to be unique, right? And that's a big part, I think, in a lot of the craft beer industry is the struggle to be unique.
Absolutely.
So that you can make a name for yourself,
Definitely.
right? And that's the end goal, is making a name for yourself. Is like, this person did this. You know them by that. You know that they did that. It's amazing. And that's a lot with other industries too. But we can go very hard into that with this industry. But it's funny because at the same time, you've done that so much that Jester King, and we talked about this,
Yep.
posted that article that says, should we remove craft from craft beer?
Yeah.
Because at this point,
It's just beer.
it's beer.
Yeah.
It's beer. And I mean, you know, and I kind of agree with them to an extent of where, and I need to learn more on this. Sounds like I keep self-protecting myself, you know, over here, I'm just like, make sure that I don't offend anybody. When really I don't care. But anyway,
If they can't take the heat, I mean, come on. They're in the wrong business.
get out of the kitchen.
Yeah, they're in the wrong
Get out of the
business.
kitchen, man. All right. It's funny because there is just so much. Craft beer has become the norm over beer almost. Now,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's really funny the way that works, but you could almost say that, and I don't know the statistics, you know, going with this, but the amount of local beer in general throughout our country, and I'm sure other countries as well, is just amazing.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
and it's the reason that, you know, big names as Budweiser and Miller and everybody are picking up, you know, craft breweries
Absolutely.
to expand their line. You
Yep.
know, it's a really good move by them to do it. But it's funny because at what point are you deciding what is craft beer and what is beer? And it's just, you know, everybody's got their hates, got their loves,
Oh,
got
yeah.
everything, you know. And I mean, goddamn, does that? I mean, there's certain ones that are always everybody's like, oh, fuck.
I mean, we work with a couple
Something.
people that would not drink this beer because of who
That
made it.
is true. It is true. You know, it really is.
Like Bourbon
because
County?
of that whole
No.
thing. You know, and I'll go ahead. I don't care about this. I was living up in Chicago at the time, you know, when they got bought out
Right.
with this. And there was a big discrepancy.
Oh, people got butt hurt
Man, they did.
really bad.
Man, did they? You know, but it all. You know what? We're gonna keep going with this. I'll go ahead and say that my opinion on the whole subject, and I discussed this with someone else that we know, who is the owner of a brewery, and I had said, I kind of see it, I get it, and so did he.
Yeah.
Of where it's just like, you're talking about being able to, and who's to say, how old you are? I don't remember how old he was, but if I'm correct, the guy who owned Goose Island was kind of, I think he was in like he was middle aged at least, right?
A little bit older,
and you go and you've just done this struggle for so long, and the craft beer industry is a struggle. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, man, you have to be committed to it. It's the same thing with wanting to make it huge in the restaurant industry, bar industry, everything with it. I mean, you really got to put your heart and soul in it.
Absolutely.
And you're going to be working.
It's 24 hours a day if you want to get it.
You really are. I mean, it really ends up at the end that you're working 24 hours a day. You're on call 24.
Absolutely.
And so I understand the idea that someone comes up to you and they're like, hey, you're going to do this, and you negotiate with them. You're like, I want this, I want that, to make sure to stay the same. But they're going to take it over, and they're going to make it so that you are distributing, something that is the size of a pea to something that is, the size of a watermelon.
Right.
Comparatively, when you're looking at the population that you are reaching.
Absolutely.
Comparatively. Now, I mean, there is always the idea of, yes, it's going to be mass produced and stuff. Comparatively, will the taste change? Yeah, probably. When you're talking about mass production, I mean,
you're
is some,
probably quadrupling at least production, at least.
Right. But it will change. But at the same time, I mean, what did you expect? It's the same thing. It's the same thing as I come from a musician background, and a lot of musicians would freaking punch me in the face for this. They would. But you know what though? I got another guy that he was my best friend for a good few years, and he's a straight up punk, man. And he told me, yeah, I'd sell out any day.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, and you know what? I hate that term, sell out. But it's the same thing of where I'm not quoting here. I'm going to paraphrase because I actually have never read the full quote, but it's been passed around so many damn times. Who the hell knows where it comes from? But essentially, the singer of Against Me once said, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I see that smile. Yeah. Against Me used to be a punk band that would say they didn't give a shit if they made a freaking dime off of any of their music, and then they got signed.
Yep.
They got signed, and their music changed a little bit, and basically he got up on stage, now she got up on stage and said, you know what? I went from having to work to barely get by, to barely make a living in anything, and then play my music on the side in the barely any hours that I had left of my life, to being able to do what I love every day on stage. And all it took was me changing my music just a little bit.
Yep.
And that's all it was. And they didn't even have a problem. He didn't have a problem with changing it. I mean, it's still great music. And I respect Any Day. You're talking about Against Me. Shout out to Against Me, because I'll tell you, Any Day, man, New Wave was the shit.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
I mean, it was. That album is incredible. Any Day, I'll keep following you. Transgender Dysmorphia Blues is fucking awesome, too. But he got up there and he's like, you know what, man? If you're gonna get mad at me on that, then you've never been a fan of mine.
Yep.
Just screw you. And it's true. It's true. It's the same thing from a musician standpoint as it is, in the craft beer industry, and really any industry. Is just like, you get tired, man.
Yeah.
You get tired, and you want to do it, and the reason you got into it was because you loved it. It wasn't for the money, because almost all of these industries, you're sitting here and you didn't make any goddamn money doing it. You're making enough to barely make it paycheck to paycheck, if not be in fucking debt, because I'm sure almost all of them are. I'm sure I am, and anything, and I don't even own anything, but this is just the American way, over here. But you do what you got to do to get by, and if you can do something to where you get to go to work today, and you're like, I love what I do every single morning when you wake up, then fuck you for arguing it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just really it. And
I think also as a craftsman, like, you want to get what you poured your blood, sweat, and tears into to everybody. You're like, hey, I've made this. Everybody in this area has had it. I want everyone else to have it.
You want everyone to have it.
It's
you
like,
want everyone
I want to show you what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Dude, I completely agree. I think that's exactly right. I think it's that you want that to be spread, and typically the people who get into this industry aren't doing it for themselves. Yeah, they do it on a personal level of, it's my way out.
Right.
You know, this is my release. This is how I do it. These industries are typically ways that they make them happy because it takes away from whatever else they had going on with it. You know, I mean, it's funny to think about craft beer in that way, but it is true. I mean, people do that the same way of that as you would in you know music, acting, painting, drawing, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like any of the arts and cooking. You know, we can keep going on with this. I'm sure I'm missing some, but people have their releases, and the fact that you can share that with them, right? That you can bring that to the next person. That's what you want. That's what you want out of it. Like I don't think I've ever met someone who is in any of these industries that is like, I don't want to share it. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And
I just want to keep it local.
Right. Even if you talk to those people that are like, we want it to be exclusively this. The reason that they're doing it though is not because they don't want to share it with everybody else. It's for other personal reasons of where it's just like, you know, we really like the scene that we got here. You know, we want people to come to this. And that's fine. You know, whatever, man. You want to do that, that's fine. But I've never seen someone that's just like, nah, those people, nah, we ain't sharing it with those people.
Yeah, I don't want those people to have it.
I don't. Those ones specifically right there.
Yeah.
No, you know, you just don't see it. I'm going to take a break real quick. We're going to be back in just a minute. You got Jason Jones on the show again. I'm Chris Marks. We're going to grab another beer, and then we'll be right back. See ya. Hey, we're back. Okay, so we are now drinking a different beer. We're just starting to talk about it, so we'll reiterate a little bit of it. We're drinking from Karbach Brewing Co. We're drinking the El Hapadillo Negro. It's their black IPA, and I gotta tell you, man, I am not normally a black IPA person. I've just started getting into them. I had the Black Bucket from Thirsty Planet, and I was like, God damn, this is pretty good. And before of it, you know, I had several friends that were just like really into black IPAs.
Oh,
it's just like, it's not my thing, man. I knew people who were really into black lagers too. I'm just like, it's okay. Which is funny because now I'm sitting here, you know, and I know it's not black lager, it's dark lager, but I you know, I have a 6-pack of the Twisted X Cow Creek. And I'm just like, man, this is freaking sweet. Anyway, but to the black IPA, we've got, you know, the El Hapadillo Negro black IPA, and the funny thing about it is, Lacey, man, you're just Italian. She's like, you gave me love, and I'm just going to keep jumping on you. That's not nice. Don't do that. Anyway, you're a good puppy. Anyway, the great thing about this is I'm a big West Coast dank IPA fan, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like a lot of malt in my IPAs. I'm just not that kind of person. I want it to be as least sweet as it possibly can.
Yeah, and hop
I just
forward.
Want that hop forward. Yeah, exactly. And this delivers with that. And the funny thing about it is the first thing that you taste is well, I mean, I guess I should go through notes first. And the first thing is nose. I'm like, man, this is some fresh, like citrus hops. And I mean, you could really go into detail with this, and we probably will in just a second. But the great thing about it is I'm drinking this, and I'm just like, man, you taste it, and it's just like straight West Coast dank freaking IPA going through this, and then that back end you get that black, and it's just awesome. It just finishes real clean, real smooth with that black on the end of it.
Nice roasted malt. You can get a little bit there.
Roasted malt, man. Yeah. What do you think, Jason? Go ahead.
I'm a big fan of it. Actually, just got turned on to Karbach recently. Had a couple of their things, and this is one of their really solid beers that I'm actually just having for the very first time.
Hell yeah!
So I'm pretty stoked on it.
Yeah, I think it was someone at Witchcraft over in Austin, Texas that was telling me about it, and they're just like, yeah, you should check this out. You know, it's a black IPA. I know you said you weren't a big fan of black IPAs, but it's bad. It's really bad, man. And I was just like, cool. This is sweet. And so I bought it. I saw it the other day, and I needed to restock because I had just gone to kind of like a beer exchange, just like a really casual one with one of my next door neighbors, and I feel like a dick because I didn't have really anything extravagant to bring, and he's pulling out all sorts of stuff that he's like, oh, I've had this for a year. I'm just like, shit, like I don't got any of this, man. I actually just recently got back into drinking beer, to be honest.
Yeah,
within the last few months. Because before I was just drinking whiskey, and I was trying to figure out, you know, what I wanted to do with my life going through here. And so I started drinking beer again after talking to a few people, and I started really, you know, like, oh crap, you know, Texas beer scene's going cool. Anyway, what were we talking about with Karbach? We were just saying something before this. Oh, the beer that you had traded for that you
Right.
had said was amazing, and I have no idea what you're talking about. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, so Karbach does a special beer. I'd actually had it a couple of years ago called the 007, the Bourbon Barrel Aged Hellfighter, which is one of their, I guess, signature kind of special limited releases that they do. Now, they do a different variation of it each year, 00 whatever number, and then whatever style of beer he decides to make for the year.
Cool.
So 007, I believe it was the Bourbon Barrel Aged Hellfighter. So I was in Tampa at the time, had good access to Cigar City Hunahpu before the fiasco of 2014. If any of you are beer drinkers, you will know well aware what that is. So I was sending, Cigar City Hunahpu to get some of Texas beers back. So I got a lot of Austin Beer Works and things that I had never been able to acquire in Florida, and really fell in love with a lot of the styles here in Texas.
Sorry, we both kind of looked up and stopped for a second because my computer gets when I get a text message, and that was really fucking loud. Yeah. Anyway, cool. Why don't you, for our listeners and me, explain what the 2014 beer fiasco? What was this? All
right, so in Cigar City is the biggest brewery in Tampa.
Okay.
That distributes out of Tampa,
Okay.
at least. They're known for Hunahpu. It's brewed one time a year, and it's a imperial stout with chilies, cacao nibs, vanilla, cinnamon, and it's a $20 bottle. So it's a $7.50.
Cool.
That's a $20 bottle. In previous years, up to last year, you would pay $50 to come to the event. Or no money to come to the event. You would just buy tickets, and then you could buy your Hunahpu for $20 a bottle, and they'd have like a 4-bottle maximum.
Cool.
You buy that. Last year they decided to change it, charge $50 a ticket, and limit it to 1,500 people, 15 or 2,500 people. Well, what happened is a lot of the tickets became counterfeit. People started copying tickets, so there were about 7,000 people that came. So basically what happened was a ton of people lining up to get beers that never actually paid to come in, and all the beers are gone within minutes.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah. And so people that had been there all day long waiting, because Cigar City sent out a thing saying, hey, don't get here early. We're not going to open, anything like that. They were actually selling other beers. So they have a beer club called El Catador Club, which is a club where you pay money to get 5 beers that nobody else can get.
Uh-huh.
So they're all barrel-aged beers. So I was a part of that club, and then you go to this thing, and they're selling the beers that you paid all this money for to anyone. It's just ones that didn't get picked up. So people were leaving. So their number one beer is called Double Barrel Hunahpu.
Okay.
So it's a double barrel blend of their number one beer, Hunahpu, which is like one of the top 10 beers in the world if you'll on Rate Beer and Beer Advocate. But
okay.
I mean, that's just based on those people's
Sure.
opinion.
Sure.
So what happened was that people would come, and Double Barrel Hunahpu was $25 a bottle, and people were leaving with cases of it before the event even opened. So people are walking up to get in line, and people are leaving with cases of like the most rare beer that they've ever released. People are losing their mind.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. So the people that paid $50 to get in, to get unlimited drinks and all that, to be able to buy the Hunahpu, some of those people didn't get any at all. So what Cigar City did, in their pretty great wisdom, they said, all right, what we're going to do, anyone that has a wristband, because they gave everybody a wristband, and once you got your bottles, they cut it off. Anybody that still has a wristband, we'll give you bottles. They said, come back, we'll brew another batch, and we'll give you guys bottles of it, and give you an opportunity to buy more if you want. We're sorry. So they did a really great job. And then they came out again and said, hey, we did another batch. Because you guys were so good, we're going to sell some more of it just to you guys. So they did whatever they could to make up for it. They decided they were going to cancel it. This year they brought it back $150 a ticket. And that gets you 4 bottles and all you can drink. Whether it's worth it or not, I don't know. It's next weekend, so.
How'd they prevent the counterfeiting?
What happened, I'm not sure what they did this year. I heard they were doing it like your name is on the ticket. You have to have your name and ID to be able to get in.
Okay.
Last year it was volunteers just scanning tickets. So when they would scan the little ticket and it would say unreadable, they're volunteers. They didn't know. They'd say, oh, it must just be broken. Go ahead and go in. And so the whole thing kind of blew up.
It was just a luck.
Yeah.
Then really what it came down to.
But there were people that waited in line 2.5 hours just to get into the event. I mean, there's a line all the way down this road, and it's a very small road in Tampa. It's in a warehouse district, so very interesting thing.
Crap, man.
But like I said, they're really good guys. Like, they do right by the people. They know exactly.
Right, it sounds like it.
Yeah,
I
they got
mean,
their
I have
hand on the
respect to
pulse
them.
of what's going on.
Damn. Okay. Well, that's freaking crazy.
Yeah. So Florida, very fun beer market. If any of you are there, you are well aware.
Man, it's funny because I actually, willingly, as far as I know, I don't think I've had anything from Florida. I don't, and that sounds pretty awesome. I kind of really want to go back to Florida, and I know everybody associates with it, but I want to go to the beach really bad.
Oh, it's a good time though.
But man, I'll have to next time I'm there. My family,
I got a lot of stuff coming soon.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Do you really?
So we'll be able to drink all that.
Hell yeah. No, my family has had a tradition since I can remember of every 3 years where we save up to go to Disney World.
Oh, nice.
With it. So I'll be back there. No, well, it would have been 3 years, but they're waiting until my sister graduates high school, so it just made it, easier to go through with everything. So we're on similar schedules. And so we'll be doing that whenever she does. So I guess that's 2 years from now, which will make it I think 4 years instead of 3 years. But we'll go back there, and when we do, man, I'm gonna be looking for this stuff. I'm gonna ask you what it is.
Oh yeah, I'll put you in contact.
I totally just realized that earlier when I hit my my finger, I bruised the living hell out of it. I just touched it, and man, that fucking hurts. Why do I keep hurting myself? I'm sick of this. Oh man, so folks, so I over this last week, I burned myself, and and when I say burn myself, I mean second-degree burns. Being an idiot, not paying attention. I'm so ADD. I really need to focus more. And then the other time is I lifted up my thumbnail, which I thought at first I lifted it like halfway up. I was like, oh shit, this is really bad. It's only like a third at max going through there. But when I first looked at it, and I'm looking at it, it's early in the morning, I was just like, oh shit, I see blood, and I'm like, fuck. I was like, oh god damn it. So I wrapped it all up, and because we work with water, I wrapped it up in duct tape too, so I had to put a glove on, and then it wouldn't, come off.
Oh yeah,
Band-Aids are such a pain in the ass with it. But I'm sitting there, I'm just like, fuck. It's like 5:30 in the morning. It's past that. It's actually probably like 7 o'clock by that time. And it's 7 o'clock. I'm just like, man, I kind of really just want to drink something because this fucking hurts.
But you've been there for an hour and a half, probably at that point.
Right.
It's like, whoa.
Right. I'm just like, god damn. Like, I feel like I want to like have a drink or something because it's just friggin' hurting. And I just took some Advil, and finally it kicked in. And I was okay. But and I sound like a pansy talking about this. But yeah, I thought at first I was like, shit. It was not a good day for me. It was not a good day for me. That was last Friday. Hiccup. And it was shitty. It was shitty, man. It was shitty. But whatever. There's that.
I had a great Friday last Friday.
Did you really?
What'd you
do? What'd you do?
I went out and had a couple of drinks at a couple of different locations. Here in Austin, went to the ABGB.
I still haven't been there. Yeah. I still haven't been there, man.
Yeah, went there and then went to Pint House Pizza and enjoyed their delicious barrel-aged beers.
Been there either. Fuck. Oh man. So have you met Swifty? You met Swifty?
Yep, I have.
Cool guy?
Yeah.
I hear great things about him.
Yeah, definitely
really
pretty chill.
Everybody tells me like, yeah, you gotta go meet this guy. He's really cool. I'm like, it's really funny, I'll go ahead and say to the listeners, I'm gonna go ahead and avoid where me or Jason volunteer and hang out or whatever with that, just because in respects we could possibly get to it later, but just for now. I originally started volunteering at over at a place called Uncle Billy's, and good people there, man. Good people there. But apparently Swifty used to be the brewer there, and we've talked about this multiple times. But everybody goes and tells me now that they're just like, man, you need to go see ABGB. You need to go talk to Swifty. I'm like, man, I gotta get over there, and I still have never been. I don't think I've even had an ABGB beer. Like, are they available in cans or anything?
It's only at their location.
Only at their location.
You can get growlers though.
Wow. What do you know what their plans are for that? Like, what are they doing?
I think they're just letting it roll how it is. I mean, they're a brew pub, so they do pizza.
Okay.
Yeah, pizza and sandwiches, and then they also do the beer, and then they do a lot of different beers. But that's where they have the I want to say it was November or December of last year. They have the Austin Beer Championships, where they kind of do the voting of locally, and it's all held there.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. And then they'll do Firkins from like Jester King and Hops and Grain. They did a porter culture variant.
Oh, wow. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Man, that's crazy.
And it's just
I
right
didn't-
there off of Old Torf and Lamar.
Right. I just never have gone in.
Yeah.
What days are they open?
Every
Just
day.
promote them. They're every day.
Yeah.
Really? Is
They
there
always
tap
have
room
bands.
every day?
Yeah, and they have a vinyl night where you can bring your own vinyl and play it. They have record players and
So
stuff.
so outside of Twisted X, they're the only ones.
Yeah, they're the solid game in town.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
You know, that's funny because I kept sitting there saying, you know, coming from Chicago, where I mean every tap room is open every freaking day,
Absolutely.
and when you open a tap room in Chicago, it's this crazy extravagant thing. You know, every time it's not just like some hole in the wall. It's they go all out. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
they do it. It was weird coming down here, and I was just like, holy crap. These people are only open like one day a week,
Yeah.
you know, and for only like 3 hours, 4 hours, you know, going through it. So that's
In a
that's
city like
funny.
Austin that loves to
Right,
drink.
right. It's
Loves to
funny,
drink.
and I you know I attribute most of it to the fact that you know not only TABC laws, but on top of it, the fact that the craft beer scene in Texas in general has only just begun.
Oh, absolutely.
It's only just begun.
why I came to
It's
Texas.
yeah, yeah, man. It's gonna be real interesting in years coming up. And hey, I'm Texas born and bred. But I'll tell you what, man. Our laws with liquor, it drive you insane, man.
Oh, it's crazy.
They're so crazy, man. They're crazy. But it'll change, man. It'll change coming up. But it's funny because I was just like, what the fuck? Why are they only open this time? And so actually, the first place that I went and talked to was Twisted X
Yeah.
because they're the only people until I know that ABGB now that were open every day. And I'm the only one in there. When I walk in there, I was
Yep.
like, "This is really awkward." Like, I'm like
Oh,
going
yeah.
in here, you know, you're in the middle of Dripping Springs, and there's no one there. There's
Yep.
no one there at all. And if anybody who is not from Austin or Texas in general, who is listening to this, when you go into this brewery, there is nothing around. There's nothing really.
Yeah, it's the brewery.
Yeah, it's the brewery. That's it. And then there's people who own land that are around. We're country folk and we're proud of it. You deal with it. Anyway, but it's a beautiful brewery. Beautiful brewery.
Beautiful.
They really are. And I went there, but I was the only person there. I was like, holy shit, that's kind of weird. Talking to everybody. But it's funny to see where we're going to go because you can obviously see that everybody and their mother is trying to open up a brewery.
Oh yeah.
And some of them make it, most of them don't, which is like any industry, you know, going through.
Yeah.
I
I know everybody's excited about Blue Owl opening.
Yeah. Let's talk about Blue Owl. I have no idea about this. Everybody keeps up with this. I don't know this. What's going on with Blue Owl?
Only thing I know about them is that they're doing sour mashes and they're going to do them in cans.
Isn't it
The extent of my knowledge with them right now.
Isn't it a brewer from some other place that brought it on? Who
Yep.
is that?
I'm not sure where what brewery he came from. Based on what I heard, like the lineage is
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's been
Kind
vetted
of
through a
thing.
bunch of different
Okay.
places and he knows sours in and out. So
Man, sours are just the way to go now, it seems like. And I'm on board with it. I'm not going to lie. I've just gotten into the buying of the sours, and I think I only know like 3 of them
Yeah.
to buy, so you'll have to suggest some. But I'm digging it.
I'm still waiting to try. Like right now, they do lacto or Brett. So most of the sours are with lacto or Brett, but a couple of places in Oregon are doing Greek yogurt. So they're taking out the lacto or the
Greek
Brett, and they're using Greek yogurt. Apparently, gives it a much more silky mouthfeel. Haven't had one yet. I know. I want to say it's Eclipse. Eclipse Brewing in Oregon is doing that. So pretty thrilled to try that as soon as those start hitting the market.
Hell yeah. For people who don't know this and stuff, why can you elaborate a little bit on lacto and bread, or is it really complicated and we'll just go ahead?
Really complicated.
Really complicated. Okay.
Hand over
okay,
my
okay,
head. I'm
okay,
not a
okay.
biologist or a chemist.
Yeah. I completely understand. Cool. So, but Greek yogurt, man, that's interesting.
Yeah, it'd be real crazy to try that.
Real crazy. Real crazy.
Oh yeah.
All right, this is second 22-ouncer in, so having fun. Might have to slow down in a minute.
Yeah, that first one was
'cause-
like 15 and a half.
Yeah, I was gonna say, something's happened. Because we're supposed to meet up, buddy, at what do you say, 2?
Ish.
So you call him
Yeah.
2. Well, ish. Okay. Yeah, of course, ish. Anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. This is your host, Chris Marks, with Useless Threats. We got Jason Jones over here in the studio. This is fun. We're, once again, we're drinking some beer. We're just talking about some stuff. We were talking about a lot of sours and stuff right before I left for a minute. And we're drinking. We're sitting here in Austin, Texas. We're drinking Carbach Brewing Co.'s El Hapadillo Negro, or it's probably just Hapadillo. I'm just trying to be politically correct, and I'm fucking it up.
No, it's El Hapadillo Negro.
Hapadillo,
I don't know.
but it's armadillo.
Yeah.
Or is it armadillo? Is it armadillo? If we really get into this,
Is it Guadalupe or Guadalupe?
it's
All right, then.
it's definitely Guadalupe. Don't even start that shit. Anyway, Cesar Chavez. Anyway, we're drinking the El Hapadillo or Hapadillo, whatever, doesn't matter. It's not some beer. Negro Black IPA, awesome beer. You can tune in earlier if you want to. Just go back on it, and listen to our description of it. You should really pick it up. It's in a 22-ounce bottle. And do you know what ABV it stands at? I don't
know off the top of my head.
Does it say on the bottle, or we? I think it might not. Yeah, I don't know.
7.2.
7.2.
According to beeradvocate.com.
It doesn't really seem too high.
No.
It's nice. The beer before that we're having was definitely a little heavier. I was sitting here like halfway through this episode, and Jason's telling me about something, and I'm like really trying to retain focus because it's really interesting, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, this is really hitting me quite hard. Okay. Anyway, this is awesome. Having Jason Jones on the set. Like I said, we've known him for like about 2 months now. It's pretty freaking sweet. I really like working with the dude. He's an awesome guy. We'll be doing some South by Southwest stuff together coming up, and like I said, this is the first episode. This is pretty cool. Having a fun time. Probably a lot more positive than a lot of other podcasts that I'm doing because again, I mean, we're useless threats. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a very angry person. I don't show it, but I like to bitch. I do. I really do. And I got some opinions on things, but they're only things that I care about. Anyway, I'm gonna take another drink of this Carbach El Hapadillo Black IPA.
Yeah, it's a solid beer. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I actually, I mean,
I think it was Witchcraft. Which, if you haven't been there and you're a craft beer lover or just a beer lover in general, you need to go to Witchcraft. I mean, they're incredible. The guy, the owner's name is Jody. He's freaking awesome. I mean, they got everything that you can imagine there, and they do singles, which is just awesome. You love seeing singles in the craft beer industry because you can sit there and you can try a whole bunch of different beers, and you can put them up on your mantle like you want to do like me, or put them above your kitchen wherever you build a thing like I did, and it makes you look like an alcoholic. But really, all it is just like these beers are awesome. That's really
absolutely.
It is.
I'm liking this black ale though.
I really do.
IPA.
I think it's awesome. And again, like I said, it's really interesting because I'm not a black IPA person normally, and it's good.
Yeah, I've had a couple other. I know 21st Amendment Back in Black IPA. That one's pretty solid. They're out of San Francisco. And then Hill Farmstead, which was recently voted like the #1 brewery in America.
Really? They
yeah.
were? Okay.
Well, by one of these
yeah,
rating
right,
systems.
like we talked about earlier. Yeah.
Society and Solitude, that's the other one I've had. Pipeworks, Close Encounter, they do a black IPA.
Yes.
Haven't had that one, but I hear good things.
Either.
Yeah.
I'm sure a buddy of mine will be sending that down. So yeah.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, since everyone who would be listening to this, if you are listening to this, would be a new listener, there'll be a lot of focus on craft beer, I'm sure, because that's who I like hanging out with. But I got a buddy of mine who works for Pipeworks who I will get on this show. It's gonna be near the end of April. And we'll probably be drunk doing it, to be honest. But he'll talk a lot about stuff. He's a good friend of mine. I've been friends with the dude for what does that got to be? It's probably like 4 or 5 years now. And he's He's a good guy. He's a really excellent guy. He's one of those guys that without his consent, I'm not gonna say his name. It's like, be like, what the fuck, you put me on this show? No, he wouldn't do that. Anyway, he'd be totally game. But he's one of those guys, man, where he just, when he finds something that he likes, he just goes all out.
Oh yeah,
he really does, and I it's an honor to have him as a friend. He's one of those guys who does not mind at all to be picking up shit for no money just so he could go and do what he loves.
Oh yeah,
and that's awesome. That's mad respect, and you see that a lot in this industry, which is awesome. I mean, that's the kind of people you want to hire when you're talking about the craft beer industry. You're talking about it's very limited amount of availability for jobs because they just don't operate on that much. I mean, so you get on a very large scale, and
6 to 10 people work in a brewery maybe, and
right. And in order to get in there, most people are doing stuff on their time off for volunteering, and they're doing it for like years or months to years at a time, depending on how much they can do it. And so it's crazy. But again, he's one of those people, and you know what? He had the right timing of they were just opening. I don't remember how he got into it. He had met someone because originally he was working with me, and I had gotten him a job with my boss. And he was just the guy. Like, this guy was one of those guys who knew everybody.
Yeah.
And all he would do is he'd be in the most, like, he'd go from being the most high class area to the most seediest area, meeting people, like, all the time, man. And he knew everyone, and so he'd be going and picking up all these different beers, all these different liquors, and everything. And he eventually, I guess, just ran into the right person. I think that's really all that ended up happening, is he ran into the right person where I think he was running another liquor store, if I'm correct. He's going to correct me when we're in a month when we're talking, because I don't really remember the story that well. But I remember him starting, and he's just like, yeah, I met these guys. They were talking about opening up this brewery. They had just started, and they don't have the money to, like, do almost anything, but man, these guys' beers are awesome. They're fucking awesome. I'm just like, that's really cool, dude. Like, what they got you doing? It's like, man, I just begged to mop the floors, man. I just begged to mop the damn floors. It was just like, mad respect. That's fucking sweet. And it's funny how far that will take something, because he just begged to mop the damn floors, clean the toilets, and he did. Because they didn't have money for it, doing it, and now he's head of distribution and sales, which is just freaking
awesome.
Amazing.
If you guys aren't familiar with Pipeworks, get familiar.
Yeah, dude. They're killing it. They're killing it. I
they're
can't wait until they're throughout the rest of the country. We'll let him, embellish on that, the reasoning for that and everything coming up. Really, honestly, all it has to do with is that they're just new.
Yeah.
They don't have enough money yet, and they're just going. They're trying to make the best out of what they got, and they're going.
But they're hitting it out of the park.
They are
every time.
They are, and you know what? Especially talking to Jason Jones over here, living in Austin, Texas, he is one of the only people I've talked to that knows who they are. But if you look in any of these craft beer forums or anything, they come up, man. They do, and they win a bunch of awards, and they got a new beer out. I'm not sure what it is. Do your research, check it out. But they have a new beer out that's selling out by the masses, man. And I guess it's up to beat Bourbon County.
Wow.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. Who the hell knows, though? I mean, this is all opinionated, but you should drink it anyway. Just go look at your research. I mean, I'm sure if you type in any of their barrel-aged stuff, they don't do that much of it going in there. So you'll probably be like, oh, this is the one they were talking about. This is it right here. And get it. I mean, if you're in the right area, get it. I mean, get it. And then if you don't want it, I mean,
contact us and send it to us.
Yeah. Send it to us or sell it. I mean, you could make a bunch of money. I mean, because they're going to get famous. Or honestly, what I would do is keep it and just age it.
Yeah.
And I would keep it and age it, because then you're like, I have this from when this first released, and it's amazing, and I've never opened it.
Yep. Share it with friends.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, I mean, just like this awesome guy. This guy shows up to my apartment today. I asked him randomly as we're volunteering today. I'm just like, what are you doing today? It's like, I don't know. I'm just like, you want to come do a podcast? And this is the first episode right now. I was like, you want to do a podcast?
So, yep.
Being all weird about it. And he shows up. He shows up with this badass beer. I'm like, God damn it! I don't got any aged beers. I used to when I was up in Chicago, and I got any aged beers now. I need to start aging some, but I haven't found any that I've bought that are worth aging right now. But I'm gonna age some stuff soon, and we're gonna age it.
But you're gonna have to try it first and then age it also, so then you know what the difference in tastes are.
Yep. I need to get 2 of them. We'll just do it like that.
There you go.
Because I'm sure that we're gonna end up working together for a long time. So, yeah. Anyway, let's okay. We're sitting at, oh man, look at that. We still got like 20 minutes. It's a good time. So let's talk about some more stuff. I think later today we're gonna be going hanging out, drinking about some places around town. Man, what's some of your favorite places to go and get some beer at outside of breweries here? What do you think?
I'm a big fan on Wednesdays of the Black Sheep Lounge. They have White Trash Wednesdays, $1 white trash beers. So, if you're in the mood, depends on what your evening likes to go, you can go get your $1 Lone Star. Your $1 Coors Original.
Man, make sure you park in the right lot, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
With those people.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
but then I always get to visit Witchcraft when I'm there.
Right!
So it's so good.
Right. Dude, parking is such a shithole.
Oh, this town
in most cities, but in Austin, goddamn, it really is. But Black Sheep is the shit. Do you remember the owner's name? I can't remember his name.
I do not.
Man, so I met the owner on one of the first nights before I even started volunteering, and Black Sheep is awesome.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and do a tangent and then come back Black Sheep is awesome for a big reason to me. And this isn't supposed to be an insult to them. I really hope they don't take it as if they end up hearing this. But the reason I love Black Sheep is living in South Austin, I could not find a regular damn bar.
Yep.
And it was really pissing me off. Of where I was just like, yeah, there's awesome. Everybody's got their own little niche. And I understand why they do. It's the way that the industry is working. It's the way that Austin is growing. It's awesome. I really like that. But sometimes I just want to go to a bar. And when I say a bar, I want a normal freaking bar. And I don't really know how to describe that outside of that. But I want a normal freaking bar where I can have a good beer or maybe a good cocktail and some good food. That's it. That's it. That's all I want. That's all I want. Man, I'll tell you what. This was one of the first places that I found to where I was like, holy shit, this is what I was looking for, going through this. And I had been invited out for an event that was there, and I went there and I had met the owner, and the owner is hilarious. I don't remember his name. He's really nice. But he's the most casual, down to earth dude ever. Like he really is. He's really cool if you ever get to meet him. But I was just like, holy shit, finally a bar where I can just get a goddamn beer and want to freaking like some fried. Dude, there's fried pickles. It was good.
Everything they have is amazing.
I really want some fried pickles now. Just thinking about this, sounds really good.
And my mouth just started watering.
Yeah, right. I want some fried pickles, man. Anyway, they're really killer. I don't remember where I was going with this. Anyway, you were saying Black Sheep Lodge is a good place to get some stuff. Where else?
Bangers, huge fan of Bangers.
Bangers is sweet. Have you had their food?
I have.
Is it good?
It's phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Awesome.
They're actually in the process of installing another 101 taps.
Right? Yeah, we should get on that. Yeah, promote them for this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And they're also installing a window on the front of Rainey Street here in Austin, which if you ever come to Austin and you hear someone say Rainey Street, that's where a lot of the bars are. There used to be houses. Now they're converted to bars. But they're doing a window on the front, and they're known for sausage. So it's Bangers, sausage, and beer. And you'll see them casing the sausage and making the sausage fresh as you're walking down the road.
So crazy.
So cool, though.
So cool. I agree. And actually speaking of Rainey, for anybody who wouldn't be from Austin doing this, it's a really interesting experience going down Rainey for your first time, right? Of where it's just like, I had it described best by my old boss when he came and visited, and he had gone to UT, but he hadn't been back in, I don't want to insult him, so I'm not going to say how many years. Just,
in a minute.
It'd been a bit. I don't want to insult him. I love the guy. And he was just like, you know what this is? I was like, what? He's like, if I was to describe it in like sorority girl terms, this is, I feel like drinking, but I don't want to leave my house, but I want everyone to see that I'm drinking.
Yeah.
That's Rainey Street.
That's
really it. Is that it's actually really cool. That sounds really funny, but it's actually really cool because when you go there, you're like, holy shit, you feel like you're at home. Like you do when it's not packed.
Yeah.
When it's packed, holy shit, you're in a bar and you're in downtown and oh my God. But when you're there, you're just like, holy crap, this is like sitting in my house, but I have access to the most amazing drinks and sometimes food.
Yep.
Depending where you're at. You're just like, holy shit, it's pretty cool. If you go there on a Friday or Saturday or even a Sunday, it's pretty hectic.
Yeah.
I mean, we do live in Austin. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, and it's crazy. But it's still fun. It's just depends on what your kind of thing is.
Yeah, the whole street, though. I mean, anywhere you go is a great time. Like Craft Pride is only Texas beers, which is wonderful. So it's a good representation of what Texas has to offer. If you're around and you say, hey, I want to try a Texas beer, Craft Pride's got them all.
Yeah. And funny thing you mentioned Craft Pride, when my buddy does come from Pipeworks, he actually knew the owners who opened it before they even did. And I've never actually met them, which is funny. I don't know how that connection never ended up having, but I'm sure we'll stop by there afterwards and he'll be like, holy shit, what's up, man? You know, I'm sure he's letting them know that he's coming in and being like, hey, we're going to stop by. We're going to say hey. But it's an awesome damn place.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's incredible going in there, and you just look at it and you're just like, I don't even know what to have. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I mean, it's the same thing as when you go into Bangers. And I mean, Bangers I feel like is even more intimidating with it because Bangers has like numbers and then you have to look at what the number corresponds to with it. And maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the only one who looks at what the number is on the tap handle comparatively to what it is. And I guess that's just the bartender in me, but I'm just like, God damn, there's like, what the, And it's a smart way of doing it. It's a smart way of doing it because then you can constantly change things and you're just like, okay, I don't have to have this tap handle, this tap handle, this tap handle, because goddamn does that get confusing, especially when you're talking about craft beer and how often you change shit.
Especially when you have 101 taps on one wall.
Right, and then and then what? Aren't they doing it? That's
they're doing another 101 now. Yeah,
and they're not the same.
They're not the same. They're gonna be 202 completely different taps.
That's gonna be really interesting
and awesome.
God, actually, and that's probably one of the most packed places on Rainy.
Absolutely,
it's just.
Always packed. But it's because their food is amazing and they have a great selection of beer as well as wine, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, dude, another person we work with or volunteers with us works there, and she's really cool. It's a great place, man. It's a great place. I need to go eat food there. The only place I've eaten food other than the food carts on Rainy is Javelina, and goddamn, that was some good food, man.
Yeah,
that was some really good food.
Big fan of Javelina burgers.
Yeah, man, that was some really good food. They got some really good cocktails too. That I don't know who's doing their stuff there, but that's really good. Man, Austin's a great place.
Yeah, I'm falling more in love with it by the day.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I think I'm good with this. I think this was a fun time, and I think I'm gonna go drink some more beer with this guy right here before we go meet up with our friend. And I had a good time. You have a good time?
I had a great time.
You had a great time. Awesome, man. Well, Jason Jones over here, he will be back again. I'm sure sometime soon I'll have him back on here whenever we have a break again. I am Chris Marks. This has been Useless Threats. We're gonna go drink some more beer. Peace, guys.
See ya.